With Thanksgiving being so close, I thought I would talk about abundance. That's a buzzword in the manifestation world. And I want to help you understand what it means. Abundance means more than you need, more than you can imagine, more than you ever could want. It simply means surplus. And if you want surplus, you have to give superfluously. So stick around, and we'll sort of piece together the mystery of unlocking abundance. When we talk about giving, we immediately think that we give on the exterior level. That's what giving is. But in that right, you don't own anything. An object is not really you. And true giving is giving of oneself. That's what people really want. They want you. And the things that you have are symbolic. So there are many ways to think about abundance. I like to think of abundance as giving of myself. And when I give things away, when I shop for somebody for Christmas, for example, if I'm going to give a gift, I buy two. I buy for myself. Then I buy another one. Some of the greatest gift ideas come from your heart. Something that you yourself would enjoy. So true gift giving is self-serving. People will more likely appreciate what you give them if it's something you would want to have. You give them something that helps you. So I would encourage anybody to give from the heart. That's what that means. Don't try to figure out what markets are unserved. Don't try to figure out what people want. Give them something you would want. And you have given yourself some symbology of your own desires, which more truthfully represents your inner landscape. Some of the neatest gifts I've ever received have been things that were meaningful to the person who gave it to me. One of my best friends would give the best Christmas presents because he taught me that. He said, buy something you want, not what they want. They'll likely appreciate it because that's what giving from the heart is. So that's one way of looking at abundance, is giving of yourself. Now, the church has this all fucked up like they always do. And they take this passage out of Malachi and they think that's what tithing is. There's a passage in the Old Testament from the prophet Malachi which says, bring the full tithe to the storehouse. Test me, says the Lord God, and I will open the floodgates of heaven and pour so much blessing on your head, you won't know what to do with it. There's the formula for abundance, but we miss something. The word tithe, T-I-T-H-E, means tenth. So, most church people think the formula for abundance is a dime out of every dollar. If you've ever coached a team, or conducted an orchestra or a choir or tried to get people to give it their all, you would realize just how scanty 10% is. What if your children did their chores with 10% effort? What if your employees did things with 10% enthusiasm and joy and effort and intelligence? What if you devoted only 10% of your intelligence to anything? You would be cheating the system. That's because the church has missed a very important formula. Malachi says, bring the full tithe, which was his way, I think, of saying, go the extra mile. Yes, tithe means tenth, but what does full mean? Full means 100%. So to me, he's trying to say, to unlock more than you need, you have to give more than that is expected of you. You have to dig deeper than you think you have to get surplus. So you have to give 100, you have to give the dollar plus a dime. That formula is not 10%, but 110%. And that's when you're going to see surplus. For those of you who go to the gym, you know you have to dig deep for your muscles to respond, to build up bigger than they were before. You have to cut calories deeper than you think to lose the amount of body fat that you are anticipating losing. You have to write a lot more than you think before anybody's going to be interested in reading it. You have to develop a skill under the cover of darkness for a lot longer and put in a lot of lonely hours before anybody recognizes you for having an ability. It takes a lot longer than you think. It takes a lot more repetition than you think. And it takes giving and giving and giving and giving superfluously, superlatively, and incessantly. So the scales are not balanced. The scales are 110%. Most of us are giving 10% and expecting a God in the sky to bless us. But that's not the formula. That's the formula for deficit. That's the formula for lack. That's the formula for poverty. 10% is not enough. 100% is not enough either. It's the full tithe. 100 plus 10. So, it's going beyond what the mind thinks is capable. It's digging so deep that one rep that your coach on the hack squad is saying, you can do one more, you can, and you think to yourself, I can't do one more, I can't. And he or she says, yes, you can, one more. It's the woman in labor who doesn't want to push that one final time. %20 is not enough. 100% is not enough. It's got to go beyond the limit. Yes, you might get tipping fatigue, but this is what tips the scales. This is what opens the floodgates of abundance, because most people are stingy. They don't want to put in the hours. They don't want to put in that extra rep. They don't want to cut that deep into their calorie intake. And so very few people actually experience abundance on the outward level because they don't understand that there's always more to give. See, you realize you're the inexhaustible source. And to test yourself is to push your limits. When Malachi says, test me, saith the Lord, that's testing yourself. You're testing your own strength. You're testing your own endurance. You're testing your own beliefs. So in that case, life is experimental. So experiment with giving more. Giving more than your boss expects you to, or your spouse expects you to, or your children expect from you, or your coach, or yourself. If you're giving 10%, you are woefully in lack. If you are giving 100%, you are still in lack. It's not until you get into the upper echelons of incessant and superlative giving that you tip more than 20%. You give more than 20%. You give more than the extra mile. You swim that extra lap. You run that extra mile. You endure that extra year, 2, 3, 4, whatever it takes to give, to reap. You reap a whole lot more if you sow 110% and you sow 150% and you cultivate. So abundance comes from digging deeper than your average person is willing to go. Deeper into the subject material. Deeper into the present moment. Deeper into deliberate and intentional living. Deeper into the pockets. Deeper into the amount of time. Deeper into the coaching. Deeper into the endurance. And on. Until you discover there is no limit. That you are the unlimited and unexhaustible resource and source. That is what opens the so-called floodgates of heaven and pours blessings on your head that you can't handle it all. You cannot have more than you give. But if you give superfluously, over the top, that's what unleashes the flow of affluence. And you don't stop there. You just keep going. You just are in constant giving, constant expressing, constant radiant shining. You've reversed the illusion of lack. Because you're giving from an inexhaustible place. You're not going to run out of ideas. You will increase ideas if you give them all away. You will increase good fortune if you promote others. This so-called trick works every time. The problem is we have this notion that we have limited energy, limited supplies, limited ideas. Oh, this is the one idea the universe gave me. When you start giving away your ideas, more original, abundant, and exciting ideas come. So this is what you would call opening your wildest imagination. That's the part of you that is locked up in lack. To unleash the wild imagination would be to push yourselves beyond what you see as limit. So, it is not a spindly little dime out of every stingy dollar that you have scraped together. It is the whole dollar plus a dime you can't see, or a quarter you can't see, or $2 you can't see. It's multiplying what's not seemingly there from a deep wellspring of truth. I have yet to run out of ideas for videos. As a matter of fact, I have close to 250 videos, and that has only begun to unleash more ideas. After I wrote my first book, a floodgate of ideas of new books came. You see? So if you stingy and you hoard and you cling to what you think is your original content, or your gifts, or your material possessions, you restrict the flow of abundance. Give it all away, and then some. And then you will see what Malachi calls the floodgates of heaven open. Unlimited supply, unlimited ideas, unlimited peace, unlimited wisdom, unlimited zest. You will have cracked open the fount of youth. And you will actually reverse the aging process. You will become like a child, jumping for joy, because there's so many great ideas flowing through your creative, wild imagination. And it is filled with treasures, new wants and desires and previews of what's to come. So that unlocks the creative mind, which wants to be expressed and expressed and expressed and expressed. That's 110%. Give more than you are expected. Arrive at work earlier than everyone else. Stay a little bit later if you're enjoying your job. Keep things tidy. Tidy up the workroom rather than complaining about it. Show yourself you're not going to be provoked for every little gotcha. When you give, buy something that you would want and give it to somebody. That's abundance. That's everything plus, which is who you are. Extra, unlimited, creative. And give thanks for that. First, you have to give a damn. And that damn is blocked up by a stingy mindset. All I need is 10% and God will bless me. No. It's everything plus. And that surplus will come back to you. Always. And that's giving from a place of fullness. That's giving from a place of more than fullness. My name is Ryan. I hope you enjoyed these insights. I hope that you'll check out my blog or my book. And I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. And thank you for watching.